The world shifts in moments, almost as if the tides decide, in their secret language, that today is the day for change. And honestly, I catch myself holding my breath before these moments, unable to predict whether the storm will break or the sun will rise, but always hoping for the golden warmth that comes after chaos. Welcome back to the channel. This little corner where curiosity and the quiet drum of hope keep us returning again and again to the unpredictable dance of crypto. If you're new here, or just a wanderer who happened to pause, consider subscribing, getting comfortable, and allowing yourself to be swept for a few minutes into where my thoughts and your expectations might meet. Pause. Tap that bell. Let it ring you into the next surge, the next unexpected leap, because these changes arrive with little warning, and you do not want to be left out of the conversation or the opportunity. But here's what draws all us moths to this flame today. Optimism. It's back, like an old friend. Unreliable, perhaps, but so warmly welcome. For weeks, a sour mood curdled everything. Prices dropped, analysts muttered in corridors of doubt. Yet, during that downturn, something remarkable happened beneath the panic. Bitcoin ETFs, those mysterious, colossal pools of belief, were quietly absorbing capital. Not just a whisper, but a flood. Just a handful of days ago, I caught the news. Another purchase, well over $100 million, poured into Bitcoin. The world may not always make sense, but sometimes the narrative is beautifully simple. If the ETF giants, the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the Grayscales, are still buying, the story isn't finished. Far from it. It signals a pending swell, an upward tremor, like thunder warning of rain before the first drop ever falls. And it wasn't just rumor. BlackRock, that behemoth, quietly moved again. Hundreds of millions of dollars invested, split between the fortress of Bitcoin and the wild frontier of Ethereum. Their iShares Bitcoin Trust, IBIT, showing inflows in the tens of millions, and the Ethereum Trust adding another wave of capital. Even numbers begin to sound poetic if you listen. Tens of thousands of Bitcoin accumulated in a short window, at a time when most of the world only saw red. People wonder aloud, is this a sign? When prices collapsed and headlines predicted doom, the same institutional players drank up the spill, accumulating not in drips but in torrents. Over these weeks, billions, let me repeat that, billions of dollars in fresh crypto acquisition. World warned of winter, but here, in these transactions, was clear evidence that still, silently beneath the noise, someone believed in spring. Halfway through this journey together, let me gently remind you to like the video if you're feeling even a whisper of what I'm feeling. And don't forget to leave a comment, your reflection or cynicism or hope, all welcome, all part of the strange tapestry that is our shared exploration. What fascinates me the most is not just the math but the mood. Institutions do not chase the thrill of the quick high or the cold shudder of panic that ripples through retail investors. Their strategy stretches beyond the horizon of short-term gain or loss. A decade and a half, at minimum, devoted to one thing: slow, relentless buildup, brick by brick, towards something resembling generational wealth. They are not here for today's drama. They are forging the narrative that will read as legend in 20 years' time. Yet, here we all are. Retail and institutional, hearts thumping, searches skyrocketing on engines like Google, asking those eternal questions. Should I buy Bitcoin? When is it time? What does investment mean if not a leap of faith into the unknown? To be here is to acknowledge you are early. Sometimes it's a blessing. Sometimes it gnaws at your resolve. Understand this. Moments of extreme fear always yield, with exhaustion, to newfound hope. Shifts are not neat or polite, they disrupt. They break open your comfort and dare you to imagine the possible. If you look back, you'll see the patterns. The retail crowd, almost gone for 2 years when the thrill faded, now returning as the music picks up again. Growth comes to those willing to stay the dance when others sit out. Tying all this emotion to prediction, here's what some analysts are contending now. With every fresh movement in the crypto tide, a tide that raises Bitcoin first, a significant altcoin rally often follows. The pattern is time-worn but somehow always new. Bitcoin climbs, its dominance swelling, and as it shines brighter, the rest of the stars, those altcoins, begin to spark into life. There are weeks when only 3 coins dominate discussion. Extended stretches where it's a half dozen, maybe less, but you recognize their names as you'd recognize old friends in a crowded room. But who really knows what comes next? Even in so-called bull markets, the outcomes splinter. Sometimes Bitcoin leads, the others fade, obscured in its shadow. Other times, it is the altcoin's turn, the wild, untamed months of growth, strange and unpredictable as spring after a brutal winter. No one can draw the map before the path reveals itself. And this, quietly, is hope. Across the landscape, market news now bends toward recovery. It is not only the cash surges or the ETF flows that matter, but the feeling, the awareness creeping in among those willing to risk believing again. With every stabilization, every calming of world events, the crypto market's sickness weakens. Wars and tariffs, distant but inescapable, panic and unsettle, yet their fever cannot last forever. We wait. We watch. The capital rotates, as if the gods themselves are moving chess pieces on a grand board. This week's movements have been remarkable. Billions upon billions have taken the plunge, not on hope alone, but on the cold clarity of historical cycles. First, Bitcoin, the bellwether, then the rest. Investors see Bitcoin jump by a few percent in a day, then notice an altcoin surging far more dramatically. The effect is magnetic. Capital, once hesitant, begins to flow in all directions, and a rally is born. It is both science and romance, this market. Numbers that hum with energy, old wounds, old triumphs, new bets, cast with every rising sun. Retail interest, that mercurial force, is back. Google searches piling higher. Day after day, is Bitcoin a good investment? What comes next? People, broken by past winters, look again, tempted to return. Maybe some are driven by regret, that silent agony that gnaws at the mind, wondering how things might have been, while others are animated by the kind of hope that grins even after being bruised. The real test, though, is not found in these spikes, but in resilience. If Bitcoin can hold above the six-figure threshold, and it feels so tantalizingly close, the gates will open, not just for Bitcoin, but for every shunned or doubted altcoin that has waited quietly on the sidelines. Not all will flourish, of course. Only a handful wear the favor of the market in any given moment, but sentiment is infectious, and exuberance, once loosed, is hard to restrain. Yet, we cannot ignore the swirling currents of uncertainty. Cash is being hoarded, like jewels in a dragon's cave, because so many investors, big and small, sense a turning but are paralyzed by indecision. No one wants to be the first or the last. Everyone waits for the world to calm, for the signals to be unambiguous. In this silence, longing grows. The hunger for direction, for a clear sign, grows every time the news cycle whirls with calamity or fake relief. So we stand together, you and I, looking at the feverish horizon, knowing that the market is neither friend nor foe, but a mirror of our own complicated human hopes. Sometimes I wonder, what is the point of all this tumult, if not to force us to confront who we really are in times of confusion? The answer, or at least an answer, is this. If you seek generational wealth, if your dream stretches beyond your own grasp, you have to remain where others have fled. You have to see what others don't, hold, invest, and believe, as if you were planting a tree whose shade you may never live to enjoy. In the end, I hope that your days are sunlight bright, or calming as a gentle rain. Morning, afternoon, or star-drenched night, wherever these words find you, let them remind you that this journey matters. Not just the trades, not just the numbers or profits, but the very act of believing in something larger than yourself and finding comfort among strangers who feel it too. If you haven't already, make this a conversation. Like, comment, argue, wonder. Whatever this brought out of you, let it live below. And, more than anything, let this place be a gateway. Subscribe, hit the bell, and follow these ripples. Watch the other videos waiting for you. Stories and speculations and silent confessions, all building towards whatever tomorrow reveals. Until the next moment we meet, I'll be here, watching, reflecting, still grateful. Because every storm, every rally, reminds me that the future, in finance as in life, is always built by those willing to remain hopeful when hope is in short supply.